final episode of Bluey's third season ended with an incredible scene showing the future, where Bluey is an adult and has a daughter. That was amazing, but what if we told you we'll see an episode completely focused on Bluey's daughter in the next season of the show, Grandparents' House? The episode that ended by showing adult Bluey is called Surprise, and in it, the older version of the little pup goes to visit her parents' house, who are naturally older. But the most shocking part is when we see a purple-colored little pup appear ready to scare Bandit. She is Bluey's daughter. There were doubts about that at first, but the series' own creator, Joe Brum, confirmed that this character really is Bluey's child and that she is also a girl rather than a boy. Her official name still hasn't been revealed, which is why we call her Roxy. It's a name that suits her very well since it references her purple color, just as Bluey references the blue color of her mom. Roxy also seems very similar to young Bluey, being a playful little girl who loves teasing Bandit. Because of that, it would make perfect sense if this future set episode focused on Roxy were a direct continuation of that surprise scene, showing the young pup playing in her grandparents' house. Maybe this is her first visit to Bandit and Chili's home, and it would be fantastic to see her exploring the future versions of all the rooms that have appeared in so many other Bluey episodes, while her mom remembers the many games she played in those halls and rooms. This will be just the beginning of Bluey's baby episode, Roxy. You already know, right? Another Cinewave is starting! Little brother. As far as we know, Bluey will definitely have a daughter, but what if Roxy isn't her only baby? What if Roxy actually also has a little brother who simply didn't appear in that future scene? If we take a look at the other children in Bluey's family line, we'll notice there are no only children. Bluey and Bingo, Chili and Brandy, Bandit and his two brothers, Stripe and Rad. Did you notice that every pair has at least 2 kids? It's a big coincidence, but this kind of parallel is something cartoons and other stories love to do, as if everything were one big repeating circle. The similarity between Bluey and Roxy itself proves that, so it's unlikely that the blue pup has only one baby. Roxy probably has a younger brother who might be at Bluey's house under the care of her dad or a babysitter, but you can be sure we'll see him in this Roxy-focused episode, even if only at the beginning, before she and her mom head out to visit Chili and Bandit's house. Roxy's dad. If Bluey's youngest child is at home, there will be good reason for the episode to show the father of her children, Bluey's husband. He is most likely someone we already know who has appeared in episodes of the series. The main suspects are Mackenzie, Bluey's best friend, and Jean-Luc. That's because Roxy's design was made using features from both characters, since Joe Brum knows many fans want to see one of those two become Bluey's husband when she grows up. He basically said she will definitely marry one of them, but deliberately didn't make it clear which one. We believe Bluey will marry and have children with Mackenzie, since she has much more interaction with the Border Collie throughout the series, while Jean-Luc appeared only in the episode Camping and then had to go back to Canada. Of course, the ending of that episode showed that the two will meet again in adolescence, but until then, it's very possible Bluey will have already fallen in love with Mackenzie, since that's exactly around the age when we start thinking about that. With that in mind, let's imagine Mackenzie appearing at the start of the Roxy episode, while Bluey gets ready to take Roxy to her grandparents' house. Mackenzie will stay home to look after their youngest child, and maybe we'll see some funny scenes of him struggling to handle the baby alone while his wife and older daughter enjoy the trip. So, would you also love it if this episode were released? And for you who made it this far, we have a special invitation. Click the join button down below and become part of our exclusive group of subscribers. We have 3 plans for you to choose from. You can become a Wave Fund member and use our badges on your profile and special emojis in the channel's video comments. Or you can become a Wave Plus member and get early access to our videos and priority replies in the comments. But if you want access to our exclusive members-only videos and polls, you can become a Wave Max member. Starting at $2.99, you can become the newest member of Cinewave. Click now and get even closer to us. Aunt Bingo. Of course, this episode won't miss the chance to show the adult version of one of the coolest characters in the show, Bingo, who will be called Aunt Bingo by Roxy. We got a small glimpse of the adult version of Bluey's younger sister in Surprise, but only in a photo, so it would be great to see more of her in the Roxy episode. One of the most interesting theories is that Bluey's little sister became an archaeologist just like Bandit, since the photo shows her on Easter Island, a famous place in Polynesia that is widely recently studied by archaeologists. That suggests Bingo wasn't just visiting the location, but actually traveling there for work. Because of that, we can't rule out the possibility of her appearing, but only through a video call, since she might be traveling in another country. It would be an interesting way to show how she ended up different from Bluey, but still tries to stay connected with her family despite her constant travels. It also shows how Bingo turned out differently from Bandit himself, who started working from home specifically to have more time with his daughters. It's likely that Bluey's little sister isn't in a serious relationship like Bluey and doesn't have kids yet, but who knows? That could change in a few years. School. If Roxy's episode wants to show more of her life, it would be a great idea to show her going to school and playing with her friends, some of them being the children of Bluey's old friends who already appeared in several episodes of the series, like a daughter of Lucky and a son of Judo, her former neighbors. We should also see babies of Snickers and Coco, who will probably be Roxy's childhood friends in the same way Bluey was childhood friends with Snickers and Coco. It's very possible that some of these children could be babies of two of Bluey's friends who eventually ended up together. One couple that has a strong chance of happening in the future is Rusty and Indy, since the episode Mums and Dads showed the two of them pretending to be parents of the same baby and learning how to become a healthier couple. Of course, all of that was just pretend play, but it could be a hint from the show that their friendship will grow into something more when they get older.
Muffin and Socks. Other relatives Roxy deserves to see in her episode are Bluey's cousins Muffin and Socks. They would technically be Roxy's second cousins, but let's be honest, Bluey is going to teach her daughter to call them just Aunt Muffin and Aunt Socks, the same way she calls her mom's sister Aunt Bingo. It's much easier and makes perfect sense, since those two really were like sisters to Bluey. Muffin in particular is likely to have a lifestyle very different from the rest of the family. It's already been shown that she has a YouTube channel in the episode Muffin Unboxing, and that channel is successful, since the videos even receive sponsorships. So the future version of Muffin may have fully committed to a content creator career and become a true celebrity. Socks, on the other hand, probably followed a different path. It's actually hard to imagine what she'll do in life, considering she acted like a regular dog for most of the series, but we did see that Socks became a very calm little pup after learning to behave more like a person. So she may have chosen a more academic career, maybe a psychologist? That would even be ironic when we remember how aggressive she was in her first episodes.
There's a new video here every day, so subscribe and hit the bell to stay up to date.
Bluey's job. Since we've been talking so much about the jobs of Roxy's relatives, it would be a bit unfair not to talk about the work of her mom, Bluey. We believe this episode will not only reveal which career the blue pup chose as she grew up, but we also think it will be important to the story itself. Our theory? We think Bluey started working in the animation industry, helping create the animation for a very famous children's show. That would be a reference to Joe Brumm himself, who worked for many years as an animator on children's cartoons in the United Kingdom, one of them being Peppa Pig. Joe Brumm has already put elements of his personal life into Bluey many times. Bandit is inspired by him. Bandit's brothers are inspired by his brothers. Nana Chris literally has the same name as Joe's mother, and the Terrier triplets are based on him and his brothers in childhood. So it would make perfect sense if Bluey's job were a reference to his job. Not to mention that the character has already shown interest in drawing in several episodes, to the point that the Healer family's fridge is covered with drawings made by her. Great-grandparents. Bandit and Chili are Bluey's parents, and therefore they will be Roxy's grandparents. For that same reason, Bluey's grandparents, Mort, Bob, and Chris, will be Roxy's great-grandparents. But here's the problem. They're already quite old in the show's present timeline, so it's very likely that Roxy's great-grandparents may no longer be alive in her time. Unfortunately, it's very rare for someone to have a great-grandparent still alive, so it's not that surprising, but it's still sad to think that Bluey's amazing grandparents may only have a few years left. Will at least one of them get the chance to meet Roxy right after she's born? Granddad Mort already shows signs of health issues in the show's present time. In the episode Granddad, he's weak after having surgery recently, and Chili herself shows fear of losing him. Meanwhile, Granddad Bob seems to have memory problems, since he can't even remember his own children's names, and that was when he was still younger. He doesn't officially have a condition, but it may be a sign that his health is at risk. Stories from the past. Up to this point, we can see that the Roxy episode has the potential to deal with fun and emotional themes, happy and sad, but that's not enough. We think that beyond all of that, it will also include an incredible plot twist that appears at the end, when Bluey, nostalgic after visiting the house where she spent her entire childhood, decides to tell Roxy about the games she used to play with Bingo when she was a child. And that's where the revelation would be. In truth, truth, the entire Bluey series up to now has been the main character telling her childhood adventures to Roxy.
We've left 2 videos on your screen so you can choose and keep having fun with us. See you in the next video!